Hello folks, welcome back. I thought I'd give you a quick update on a few things I've been doing on the little Ford 8N tractor in the last few days. Clearly you can see I removed the hood or the bonnet. It was pretty easy to get off. There's 6 bolts. There's 4 over here that holds it to the dash. And then there's 2 over there near the radiator. And getting the bolts out was pretty easy. Again, they were all mismatched. Imagine that. Everything I find in this tractor has 3 of one type and 1 of another, or vice versa. And anyway, I'll replace the mismatched bolts when I get around to putting the hood back on. But as I shared before, I wanted the hood out of the way so I could, get at some things. The issue with getting the hood off wasn't the bolts; it was the awkwardness working alone of getting the hood off. I did remove the sediment bowl, which is glass. That actually is on the other side of the tractor here, on the bottom of the tank. But I did pull the sediment bowl off, set that aside. I've started to clean that. I will come back to that as a topic later. We're not going to talk about the sediment bowl in this video. But I took the bowl off so I didn't break it when I removed the hood because of the sheer bulk so I had to stand up on the radius arms here and lift it off, ease it to the ground, and then I moved it out of the way. It's been a lot easier if I had someone to help me. I could have run it up one of my friends or got the neighbor from across the street, but I just went ahead and did it myself. But that's out of the way for a while, for probably quite a while. A few things you probably have noticed. I did rig up a temporary fuel tank here. That's actually the tank that I use, or a little bottle that I use for my small engine projects, and it works great here. I wanted to keep fuel to the engine so that I can run it occasionally if I need to when I'm working on the PTO, the hydraulics, want to run it outside. Obviously it doesn't hold a lot of fuel. It holds about a quart or a liter of fuel, which is plenty for what I'm going to do. I'm not plowing the back 40 after all, just a short term in and out, start it up, test some things, shut it down. And you can see I've run the fuel line there and right into the carb. I did pick up a brass barbed on one end, 1/8 inch NPT National Pipe thread fitting on the other, which is what that carburetor takes. It threaded right in, doesn't leak, so that worked out really well. And it's kind of tucked up out of the way. You might notice down in here, and let me zoom in for you, I think you can see here I've broken the connection between the muffler, and that's what this lower section is, and then the manifold. The flange on the end of the muffler pipe is deteriorated to the point that it was loose and it wasn't making a seal anymore. The muffler shot anyway. This is all one piece that goes back underneath the tractor, so I will eventually be replacing that. In fact, I'll probably pull the muffler off when I work on the hydraulics just to get it out of the way. Up here at the front of the engine, I really would like to clean. It's pretty greasy up there from the leak underneath at the governor. It's pretty greasy up there, but it's tight quarters also, and that's right where the distributor is. So since it is running, I don't want to disrupt anything right now. Eventually, probably when I pull the radiator off to decide what to do with it, probably we'll replace it. At that point, then I can get free access to the front of the engine, so I'll go ahead and at that point clean the front of the engine. And one other thing I wanted to show you here, and let me reposition the camera. This is something I just discovered that I thought was kind of neat. What I wanted to share with you is this shift lever. It's a 4-speed transmission. It's in neutral right now. It has a feature to allow you to swing this lever out of the way for mounting and dismounting the tractor. And the way you do that is you pull up like that and you just shift it out of the way. It allows you to have access with your legs so you're not bumping this. And then you just return it, and it clicks right back into neutral. I don't know how many people are even aware of that. I certainly wasn't, but I'm no expert on these tractors. But I thought that was a neat idea. The other thing I'm preparing to do here is drain the transmission rear end differential on the unit. And up underneath here, there are 3 separate drain plugs that have to be pulled. I think the unit holds, or supposed to hold, around 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid. I don't know how much is in there right now. I know it was overfilled initially, as I shared, I think, in my last video, so there might be a little less than that. But I am going to pull those 3 plugs, let it drain for a day or 2, and then I'm going to end up dropping the hydraulic pump out of the bottom, eventually pulling the top cover off here. I have to pull the seat off to do that, and we'll get into the hydraulics to figure out what's going on. I'll reposition the camera here and show you the underside of the tractor where those 3 drain plugs are, so you got a sense of what it looks like under there. I'm not going to actually record me draining the oil. 3, 2, 1. We're underneath the tractor, obviously, and I'm showing you the rearmost drain plug, which is that square black plug. It might be a little bit hard for you to see from this perspective. Just this side of the drawbar. And then here you can see the drain on the bottom of the hydraulic pump. Now I believe this pump has been out of here before because all the paint's removed, and I wouldn't think, when you look at the rest of the tractor, the red paint, you still see the red paint's there, it's just dirty and covered with grime. The only spot that's completely stripped of paint is the cover, or the bottom rather, of the hydraulic pump, and that's what you're looking at right now. And there's 8 or 10 bolts that hold that in place. So I have to drain the oil from that plug right there first, of course, before I can drop the pump out of the bottom. And then the last plug is right there you're looking at, which is on the bottom of the transmission. You might also notice that cotter pin or cotter key hanging through just to the front of the drain plug. That is factory installed. This also may suggest this unit has never been split. The reason it's there is that's the drain underneath the bell housing, and if any moisture or oil or anything else gets in there, it can drain out of that hole. And the cotter pin or key is intended to jiggle around, as the tractor is used, to keep the hole open so it doesn't plug up with debris. I think that's a very ingenious way and simple way of doing it. Thought I'd share with you the drain plugs right after they've been removed. I obviously haven't cleaned these. Rearmost plug, this is under the differential, national pipe thread. This is near the hydraulic oil pump, and this one came out from underneath the transmission. There wasn't as much water in there as I was expecting. There was a little. I was expecting a lot more. And you can see the residue here, I think, of the water. Water will go to the bottom, of course, because it's denser than petroleum products, so typically the oil and float on top of any water, but you can see a little evidence of water. They actually came out much easier than I was expecting, especially these 2. They spun right out. This one, I had to use my air impact driver, but it spun it right out with no problem. So these weren't near as tight as I was expecting, given what I found with the engine oil. But anyway, this dripping right now is dripping dry. I'll let it drain for a day or 2, and then I will pull the hydraulic pump out of the bottom, see what's up in there, and eventually we'll get around to the top lid. That's going to be it for this video today, folks. Any issues, questions, thoughts, drop me a note. Otherwise, as usual, thanks for watching.